Hi, I'm Nick Alcock, the owner of Alcock & Associates, and I'm a DUI attorney. If you've been arrested for DUI and you're waking up the next day, you're wondering, how strong is the case against me? What are the odds I'm going to actually wind up with a DUI on my record? And there's a pretty easy way to go through the steps of DUI to determine exactly how strong the case is. And it starts from the very beginning. And the very beginning is, why were you pulled over? So the police officer has to have reasonable suspicion to effectuate a traffic stop. They've got to see some type of civil traffic violation. They have to have a basis to pull you over. So if it's a case where you were in fact pulled over, it can't just be because the police officer feels like, well, this guy might be drunk. They actually have to see that a civil traffic violation has been committed. Weaving within your lane actually isn't enough. Maybe even zigzagging once across the paint isn't enough. So there has to be reasonable suspicion. You would be amazed at how many police officers fail to put down on their police report what the reasonable suspicion is. One of my favorite types of cases is when an anonymous caller calls in a suspected DUI driver. And those are my favorite cases because a lot of times the police officer will just get behind that car that matches the description and pull them over. In many cases that just won't be enough. So that's whether or not there's reasonable suspicion. Say you get pulled over and you're talking to a police officer. The police officer can't arrest you unless there's probable cause. This is why doing the field sobriety test, this is why doing the touch your nose, doing the roadside Olympics may not be a good thing, because what you're giving is that police officer evidence to arrest you. I've won cases before where people get pulled over, they have a very brief conversation, they say they want to speak with their attorney, and there's no other evidence, there's no other indicia of impairment. That's a great case to win because there may not be enough evidence to actually effectuate an arrest. There may not be probable cause. It might not be more likely than not that the driver is impaired. Everybody pretty much recognizes that blood cases are slightly more difficult to defend than breath cases. There have been a lot of problems with the intoxilizers, and there are a lot of different ways to attack the credibility of the manufacturer of the intoxilizer, the big breath test machine. Blood, however, is the type of test that you can retest, and you'd be surprised again how many times we retest the blood, it actually comes back lower. I'll tell you this, that if you blow into the little handheld device at PBT and you're well over a 0.08, you're a 0.15, you're a 0.16, odds are your blood alcohol level is going to be greater than a 0.08. But if you've had 3 drinks, 4 drinks, you might be right on that borderline of a 0.08. And a lot of jurisdictions, even if you're slightly over the legal limit of 0.08, they'll dismiss it if there's any other associated problem with the case. And we've had quite a number of dismissals where people are just slightly over the legal limit or right at the legal limit, and because of some other problem with the case, some other aspect about the case, the prosecutor declines to continue with prosecution. Finally, there are some aspects about DUI cases that you're just not going to know. Whether or not the police officer has a record of misconduct, whether or not there was a problem with the chain of custody in the blood, whether or not they can account for where the blood went for after it was pulled from your arm, where did it go. They also, one thing you're not going to know is what is this officer's track record with regards to field sobriety testing, and whether or not the police officer maintains the HGN logs. That's the pen test where you have to follow the pen stimulus. So there are some things that you're going to know right off the bat. There are also going to be some things that really only an attorney can get into through interviewing and through investigation to find out how strong the case is. If you have any questions, I'd love to speak with you. My name is Nick Alcock. Our number is 602-989-5000. Thanks so much.